Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Green Group with the Shakti Wellness and Yoga. My name is Kiara Butler, and I am currently the graduate intern here with the Shakti Wellness and Yoga. So, today we are going to be talking about the good and lovely green and pretty much how to avoid misuse and building addiction and learning to let the marijuana itself heal our bodies. So, what is marijuana? Marijuana cannabis is a plant that's consumed and it is classified as a psychoactive drug. Now, it's derived from Central and South Asia, being used as a recreational and entheogenic drug. Entheogenic drugs are psychoactive substances that induce changes in perception, time, space, consciousness, behavioral, and cognitive patterns for spiritual and sacred development. It is considered the most often used illegal drug in the United States, following behind the legal ones, which are tobacco and alcohol. And the chemical in marijuana has now been able to be manufactured into pill by prescription. Believe it or not, marijuana is an addictive drug, and many people believe that marijuana cannot be addictive because you cannot overdose off marijuana, or it has not been scientifically proven to overdose off marijuana. So, what are the ways that marijuana can be consumed? Paper, glass, which is usually found through a bong or a bowl, tobacco, known as frontal leaf, usually rolled. There are different brands around, backwoods, game leaves. Plants. Plants are usually mixed with the marijuana itself and rolled in. So some of the plants are papaya, banana, and mango skin, and rose petals. It can also be vaporized, which are seen as THC pens, and infused, which are usually seen through food, candy, gummies, chips, anything that you can consume by mouth. That's usually what's infused with. And it's dehydrated, decarbonated, and put into oils. People wonder how marijuana can be accepted into the body or how it can heal the body, but there's already a process in our bodies known as the endocannabinoid system that allows for receptors to be recognized to send chemicals from the brain to the body to allow for changes. Marijuana can be accepted through the familiarity and chemical structure. THC and additional chemicals from the plant pass through the lungs and into the bloodstream, sending a rush to the brain. The endogenous cannabinoids, such as anandamide, serve as neurotransmitters to send chemical messages between nerves and neurons throughout the body. They affect brain areas that are connected to memory, thinking, movement, sensory perception, and concentration. Because of the closeness of makeup of THC, it's able to attach to the cannabinoid receptors in the brain areas and activate them through a neural communication system known as the endocannabinoid system. The immediate effects usually seen or felt are the impact in memory, coordination, time, perception, and attention. And long term, these short term effects can become permanent if marijuana is misused. The impact of marijuana on the brain depends on how often it's used, what age usage began, and if any other substances are present within marijuana, alongside the amount of THC. Not only is the brain affected, but of course the body's affected. Everyone will be affected differently by marijuana. This is due to the amount consumed, the frequency used, the strain, and THC potency, and additional use with other substances. Biology is important as well. Some people have genetic predisposition to addiction, so it's important to learn about your familial history with any form of drugs before indulging. Sex matters. Male and female have different body reactions to different strains. The mode of usage matters. That's basically the route of administration. So it takes longer for marijuana to hit your bloodstream if consumed by mouth. But if you smoke it, it gets into the lungs and it's immediately sent into the bloodstream. There's also change in perception. So there's usually an immediate feeling of euphoria and relaxation, alongside heightened sensory perception, altered perception of time, laughter, and increased appetite. And it's important to understand that there can be adverse experiences that happen. These experiences can lead to increased anxiety, paranoia, fear, delusions, distrust, and panic. So nowadays, you're not just coming across marijuana. You can go and buy Delta 8, usually in tobacco stores. CBD can be found in a bunch of different ways, from food to creams. Hemp can be found in a bunch of different ways as well. And THC itself is the marijuana that's usually bought from a dispensary or for recreational use. Delta 9, also known as THC, is the most potent, and it is psychoactive. It's a chemical found in resin produced by leaves and buds, primarily of the female cannabis plant. There are over 500 additional chemicals and over 100 compounds chemically related to THC, known as cannabinoids. Then you have Delta 8. This is one of more than 100 cannabinoids found in the cannabis sativa plants, but it's not heavily present in significant levels. This has been altered in a lab to allow it to be legalized to be sold over the counter. Because of this, Delta 8 has to be manufactured from hemp-derived CBD. There is slight psychoactive response to this as well. CBD, also known as cannabidiol, has no psychoactive properties at all. And it's a chemical found in marijuana that allows for the healing properties to still get to the body. So again, usually found in balms and creams for arthritis, pain. It can target different things. Hemp is used to make ropes, clothes, sails, food, and many more things, with a history of being used industrially for years originally. And these plants do not contain THC very often, so it varies. Usually there are specific varieties of cannabis sativa, and for CBD production, hemp can be transformed by manufacturers from the hemp and leaves. So it's important to know what you're consuming. There are three main identifiers to the types of strains, which are known as sativa, indica, and hybrid. Sativa, I like to think of sativa makes you salsa, and indica's in the couch. Indica has high CBD levels that are usually relaxing, relief of pain, decrease of nausea, increase in appetite, and better sleep. This would be recommended for someone who has trouble sleeping or has trouble eating. Sativa has high THC levels, which are usually energizing, stimulating, reducing anxiety, increasing creativity and focus. And with the mix, depending on which one is more dominant or if they're 50-50, will usually have effects. The dominant one will take effect afterwards. So if you have a sativa hybrid dominant, you'll probably feel the immediate effects of indica and later realize, okay, you can get up and you can keep moving and get work done. Sativa is usually for people who want to keep going about their day and just need to really get a relaxed hit. Now, there are stronger forms of marijuana that include concentrated resin and high doses of marijuana's active ingredients, which are known as hash oil, wax, and shatter. So mindfulness. With mental health, it's important, if we want to take marijuana and use it for the proper reasons, that there should be mindfulness with smoking and ingesting marijuana. Mindfulness is the basic ability to be present and aware of where we are. We want to appreciate the drug, let the drug do what it's supposed to do, and not allow us to sink into this moment of relaxation to desire it all the time. We don't want to be overwhelmed by our environmental factors. Mindfulness also allows for the reduction of stress, enhanced performance, and moments to gain insight and awareness. Mindfulness is something that needs to be exercised and practiced, worked on every now and then like a muscle. It can allow for balance and to be restored. When ingesting mindfully, you want to make sure that you're not overindulging in eating. Being aware, if you're taking an edible, that your appetite is going to increase, probably significantly. So setting up beforehand, knowing you're consuming something that's going to increase your appetite, it's important to be aware of what's about to be consumed. So you can use things like setting up snack trays or something beforehand to make sure that you don't overindulge in eating. With smoking mindfully, you can think of it as a process. Before you prepare your smokes, think about how your body currently feels and what your goal is. What are your intentions with smoking? Think about where you want your pain to be targeted. Are there any anxious thoughts that need to be subsided, thoughts that need to be released? And as you're preparing with these intentions, for example, think with this item I'm rolling, I want to bring positivity and peace to this moment. During, take in every detail of the smoke. Notice the way the smell appears, the crackle and the burn of the cherry. Watch the smoke rise and lift. Really be in the moment. How does it feel? How does it taste? If something tastes off to you, maybe this isn't a strain that you'll want to use again. Does the mouth fill with the smoke? Does it burn your eyes? With each inhale, speak positive affirmations. This inhale represents me breathing back life into myself. Each exhale will also represent something you want released. Like this exhale is the negativity lingering in my thoughts that helps me reduce anxiety. Afterwards, think about how your body feels. Was your mood altered at all? Were there any points of pain that were not targeted? What still needs to be exercised? This allows for us to take time in the process of smoking so that we're not continuously just smoking over and over and over again. So with marijuana and mental health, it can be used to cope with anxiety, depression, social anxiety disorders, amongst many other mental health diseases. THC can increase anxiety though at lower doses and decrease anxiety at lower doses and increase anxiety at higher doses. CBD can also decrease anxiety at all doses, usually with edibles that are targeted specifically for relaxation for anxiety and depression. There is math conducted to make sure that there's not too much THC to CBD ratio. CBD can cut down the effects of THC. There are currently active studies to continue testing the full effects of marijuana with specific mental health disease, but it's also important to again know about your familial history. If there are already genetic predispositions to mental health disorders, marijuana can increase these mental health disorder symptoms. For health benefits, it can again reduce anxiety, reduce inflammation and soothe pain, control nausea and vomiting, which with the prescription pills that were stated earlier, they help with nausea and vomiting for those who may be dealing with chemotherapy or are suffering with HIV and AIDS. It relaxes tight muscles, stimulates appetite to improve weight gain, and can supplement in treatments for diseases such as appetite loss, amongst others. One of the most prominent diseases that marijuana has been seen to help with is seizures. The childhood syndrome for seizures is Dravet syndrome, and CBD has the strongest supported evidence for supporting epilepsy treatments. There are, of course, side effects to using. There are side effects to using any drug, and there are increased side effects with misuse and abuse. Certain mental health disorders, again, can be triggered with the consumption of marijuana and increased paranoia. Fatigue, irritability, increased nausea and vomiting, and high doses of CBD can increase changes in blood tests. So it's important to be transparent with your providers when you go to the doctor on if you're actually consuming marijuana, because there can be drug interactions. One of the things where people find themselves really struggling is with sleep. People find that they sleep better most of the time before consuming marijuana, and if they stop abruptly, they have major problems with sleeping. So it's important to know timing about when you're smoking as well to build proper habits. So the difference between use, misuse, and addiction: use is, of course, just engaging in it with the desires of receiving the benefits, which is what we're hopefully here to do positively and healthily. Misuse is engaging with the desires of receiving the benefits and overindulging. And then addiction is the chronic compulsive use of the drug-seeking behavior, despite the adverse consequences experienced. Addiction itself is a brain disorder. The chemical components of the brain have been altered, leaving the brain with functional changes that largely impact lives. Those systems are the reward, stress, and self-control systems. And with misuse, it's very easy to start slipping into the site of addiction. With addiction, there are three classifications to get to what we would label as addiction, with 11 substance abuse criteria. So 2 to 3 usually comes very slightly with use. That would be classified as mild substance use disorder. 4 to 5 are moderate substance use disorder, and 6+ are known as addiction. We would classify as severe substance use disorder. Some of those classifications would be neglecting responsibilities, continuously doing impulsive drug-seeking behavior, risky behavior, neglecting consequences. The best ways to prevent addiction are to assess your culture and have the right conversations. The easiest way to get your hands on marijuana is just to ask for it. And oftentimes, marijuana usage starts within the adolescent period, and that's ages 12 to 23. Specifically, middle school and high school ages are where the conversations really need to be happening, to let kids know that it's not a problem to necessarily use marijuana, but there's a time and a place. And to understand what marijuana is supposed to do, which is target specific pain in our body or help relax us, versus being used recreationally for fun at an age where the brain is still in development. Number 2, learn what you're smoking. There are different strains. Different strains are supposed to do different things. So if you want to mindfully smoke, it's important to do research about what you're smoking before you're consuming. And then that leads us to smoking mindfully. The plant is a gift. Aim to use the proper strains as such. With this, you really learn to love the plant because you're learning about the plant. For adolescents, brain development is still extremely active, which leaves the brain more susceptible to the harmful and negative effects of marijuana and THC. There's an estimation of 7.1% of 8th graders, 17.3% of 10th graders, and 30.5% of 12th graders reported using cannabis in the past 12 months of 2021. Of course, with the pandemic, this has probably increased since then with these statistics. About 49.6 million people aged 12 or older reported using cannabis in the past 12 months. 14.2 million people aged 12 or older had cannabis use disorder diagnosed in the past 12 months. Marijuana is, again, okay for recreational use when the body is ready for it, when the brain is ready for it. But there are still active studies to better understand the extent of which development is disturbed. The brain is still developing into adulthood, and the areas that are affected are most important for maturation, that affect cognitive capabilities, mental health diseases, and changes in stress management and decision making. They can lead to adverse lifestyle challenges such as teen pregnancy, increased STDs spread around, poor life decisions, and higher dropout rates in school. And finally, legalization. Delta 9 is not federally legal, but many states allow for recreational and medicinal use. It's not federally legal, but it's probably on the verge to being federally legalized. Delta 8, however, is legalized in a form of cannabis that varies state to state as well. In some states where recreational cannabis is legal, such as Colorado, Delta 8 is explicitly banned because there is not enough FDA information on what is in Delta 8 and what is being manufactured. All 50 states have laws legalizing CBD with varying restrictions because there is no psychoactive effects. And I'm pretty sure you do not even have to be 18 to buy something of CBD product. There is no legal federal status for marijuana. However, states have legalized marijuana for medicinal and recreational use to have monetary gain. So it's important to know this when you're also thinking about where you're buying from, making sure that you're buying from trusted sources because it's not legalized everywhere. I hope that this helped y'all learn more about marijuana and how to consume it mindfully. the importance of the impact on mental health. When we think about holistic wellness and wanting to move away from pills, it's good to know about what is right at our doorstep. And marijuana is something that is being learned about more. There are documentaries, there's plenty of research. So I do recommend that y'all get interested in doing your own thing and learning more about it. I hope this helped. Please visit us again. Thank you.